From Farmers Branch City Hall, hello everyone and welcome to Council Countdown, where if you give us just a few minutes, we're going to bring you a rundown of everything you need to know for the next City Council meeting agenda. I'm Tom Bryson with this Council Countdown for the upcoming City Council meeting of Tuesday, January 19th, 2016. First up, after ceremonial items and a report on study session, members of the Council will consider items placed on the consent portion of the agenda. Consent items are items to be considered with action taken that may not need individual explanation or discussion during the meeting. There are 5 items on the January 19th consent agenda. Agenda item G1 is to consider approval of the minutes of the regular City Council meeting of January 5th, 2016. Item G2 is to consider excusing the absence of Councilmember Ana Reyes and Councilmember Mike Baumgartner from the January 5th, 2016 Council meeting. As a matter of practice, the City Council has excused the absence of a City Council member when a member has previously notified excusable absence. By excusing an absence, a City Council member is not penalized with using one of the 3 unexcused absences allowed in the City Charter. City Administration recommends excusing the absence of Council members Ana Reyes and Mike Baumgartner. Agenda item G3 is to consider adopting the Dallas County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Mitigation is commonly defined as sustained actions taken to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to people and property from hazards and their effects. Hazard mitigation planning is a process in which hazards are identified and profiled, people and facilities at risk are assessed for threat and vulnerability, and mitigation actions are developed. A mitigation plan states the aspirations and specific courses of action that a community intends to follow to reduce vulnerability and exposure to future hazard events. These plans are formulated through a systematic process centered on the participation of citizens, businesses, public officials, and other community stakeholders. This plan is an update of the Dallas County Hazard Mitigation Plan that was adopted in January of 2009. The plan has been developed to comply with the requirements of the Federal Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 and subsequent updates. The Dallas County Hazard Mitigation Working Group, comprised of representatives for each participating jurisdiction, led the development of the update and contributed significant staff time. Update development support was also provided through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, pre-disaster mitigation grant administered by the Texas Division of Emergency Management, and sub-guaranteed by the North Central Texas Council of Governments. Coordination and final compilation of the update was provided by the Dallas County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. It should be noted that this mitigation plan is a planning instrument, not a regulatory document. The objectives of the plan update remain the same as those of the previous plan that was adopted in 2009, which is to reduce the negative impacts of future disasters on the communities of Dallas County. Participating jurisdictions in this plan update expanded from 11 to 22 jurisdictions. This plan update shows that the communities in Dallas County continue to be subject to a number of natural hazards, including severe storms, high winds, hail, lightning, flooding, tornadoes, winter storms, extreme heat, drought, dam or levee failure, wildfire, and earthquakes. Other disasters discussed that do not affect Dallas County include expansive soils, coastal erosion, hurricane or tropical storms, and land subsidence. While most of the hazards identified have occurred in Dallas County, flooding, severe storms, drought, and tornadoes stand out as the predominant hazard risks. The historical occurrences, location, extent, probability, and vulnerability of these hazards have been documented in this update. Also discussed in this update are the local policies and capabilities that participating jurisdictions have and or would like to implement to mitigate some of the effects of the hazards identified if sufficient resources were available. No significant changes have been made to the hazards identified in the plan. Now, the mitigation strategy is the heart of the plan and outlines various action items that, given sufficient funding, could be implemented to address the risks of the identified hazards. Several of the action items identified are ongoing or have been deferred from previous action items that were discussed in the 2009 plan. These are designed to mitigate the effects of natural disasters and include programs such as upgrading of infrastructure to expanding public outreach and education programs. In this respect, the strategy of the plan has remained intact. The programs or action items identified in the update have been prioritized by the local jurisdictions and represent a local approach to addressing the most relevant local hazards. The main changes in this plan update from the initial mitigation plan that was, again, adopted in 2009 are in the formatting and structuring of the content. The update is designed and organized to be more reader-friendly and functional as possible. The hazards have remained the same as those discussed in the 2009 plan, and so have the mitigation strategies. City Administration recommends adopting the Dallas County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Item G4 is to consider adopting ordinance number 3353, amending the project and financing plan for tax increment reinvestment zone number 1, City of Farmers Branch, by adding public improvement projects, the cost of which will be eligible for reimbursement with tax increment funds. In 1998, the city created a tax increment finance number 1 zone to provide for public infrastructure improvements financed by incremental property tax revenues derived from zone improvements. 7 overlapping governmental entities include the city and the school district participate in the tax increment finance number 1 zone, with incremental revenues received to date totaling $11.2 million. Tax increment finance zone financing and project plans and amendments are required by state law to be approved by the Tax Increment Finance Board of Directors as well as by the City of Farmers Branch City Council. On April 19, 2011, ordinance number 3131 was created to amend the TIF number 1 zone project plan approved in 1998 to change the location of a zone school project to a 13-acre site because the Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District had requested that the project definition be expanded to include additional education facility types. In September 2015, a request was received from a developer of property within TIF number 1 to further amend the plan to allow for the reimbursement of costs related to the construction of additional public streets within the zone and using the money from tax increment fund collected by the city from development within the zone. The Board of Directors met and reviewed the proposed public improvement projects that would occur within the zone. The Board approved these changes on October 8, 2015, and pending City Council approval, the costs will be eligible for reimbursement with tax increment funds. The TIF reimbursement agreements for the proposed changes to the project plan for TIF number 1 are a separate council item on this same agenda. City Administration recommends adopting ordinance number 3353. Agenda item G5 is to consider approving resolution number 2016-01, authorizing the city manager to approve the purchase of 5 replacement patrol vehicles for the police department in a total amount of $173,415 from Reliable Chevrolet. The fiscal year 2015-2016 fixed asset fund for vehicle and equipment replacement includes 5 replacement patrol vehicles for the police department. The vehicles being replaced meet the recommended replacement criteria based on life cycle costs, age, and utilization, and supports the infrastructure and assets guiding principle. The city requested a quote from the Tarrant County Purchasing Cooperative Group. City administration evaluated the quote as to meeting specifications and the desire to award the purchase of the replacement equipment to Reliable Chevrolet. The fiscal year 2015-16 budget amount for the patrol vehicles is $200,000. The quote came in at $173,415, which is $26,585 under the anticipated budgeted amount. Therefore, the remaining $26,585 will be used to outfit the patrol vehicles with emergency lighting and equipment as necessary. City Administration recommends adopting resolution number 2016-01. That was it for the consent agenda. Here are the rest of the items before the council in their regular session at this upcoming meeting. Agenda item H1 is to consider approving resolution number 2016-010, adopting the comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2015, as submitted by Grant Thornton, LLP. Agenda item H2 is to consider approving resolution number 2016-04, approving economic development incentives pursuant to the Commercial Facade Grant Program for 14444, 14476, and 14430 Midway Road. Item H3 is to consider approving resolution number 2016-07, authorizing execution of a demolition rebuild program incentive agreement for the owner of the property located at 3225 Brookhaven Club Drive. And agenda item H4 is to consider approving resolution number 2016-06 for 2 separate infrastructure reimbursement and economic development agreements relative to tax increment finance zone number 1 and an amendment number 2 to the developers agreement number 8. The council may recess into closed session, but will then reconvene into regular session to take any necessary action. And that will do it for the January 19th agenda. Every regular meeting of the Farmers Branch City Council can be seen live on FBTV. That is Time Warner Cable Channel 16 in Farmers Branch, AT&T U-verse, Channel 99 throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, or online at www.farmersbranchtx.gov. This City Council information program will be made available simultaneous to agenda postings on the Friday before each regular City Council meeting and will air prior to the live meeting as well as before all council meeting replays here on FBTV. That replay schedule is at 6 p.m. 7 days a week. In the meantime, the January 19th meeting of the City Council starts at 6 p.m. Tuesday here at Farmers Branch City Hall. We hope to see you here. Until then, for everyone here in the studio, I'm Tom Bryson. You are watching Council Countdown. Go over there on FBTV. We'll see you next time.